Meteorologist Joey Sovine hit the Live 5 Alert desk with an update of the tropics, as we do have now potential tropical cyclone number 9, which means that the National Hurricane Center has designated that area in the Western Caribbean. We gave you the first alert to well back middle of last week about the possibility of development as we went into this week, and that is what is likely to occur over the next 24 to 48 hours. Right now, as we take a look at the tropical satellite imagery, still this storm system is fairly disorganized. There's been a lot of clusters of storms that have developed over the last 24 hours, but really nothing that's sustained itself. We don't have a well-defined circulation center, so that's why it's called Potential Tropical Cyclone number 9. But that is likely to change over the next 24 hours. In fact, this is forecast to become tropical depression and then eventually Tropical Storm Helene, and now forecast actually to become Hurricane Helene. This will all transpire over the next 48 hours, so things will quickly change. This will organize first, and then it will start to strengthen very rapidly. In fact, most of our computer models showing rapid intensification with this as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. So here's the latest advisory, the first advisory on this storm system. Once again, not named yet, but that is likely to change. Now, here's the forecast track going out over the next couple of days, and a couple things to take away from this. This is going to be going up into the Gulf of Mexico. Forecast right now to make a landfall somewhere between the panhandle of Florida, stretching down towards the northern side of the Tampa Bay area as a Category 2 on the verge of a Category 3 hurricane. So this is forecast to have quite a bit of strengthening as it pulls northward. Notice, unlike Debbie, we have a line here that's Thursday morning, then one way up here on Friday morning closer to us. So that shows that the speed of this storm is going to be very unlike Debbie, where it just kind of crawled through. This one's going to come through very, very quickly, which certainly is a good news as far as rainfall amounts possible as the storm comes north out of the Gulf of Mexico, because the quicker it moves, in a shorter period of time that we have to really have a lot of heavy rainfall that would lead to some flooding. Of course, you can get some heavy rainfall in shorter stints that can cause some issues, but not as prolonged. Now, as we take a look at this forecast track, it also shows that this is expected to weaken very rapidly as this comes north. Of course, we do have to watch this forecast, and a lot of different scenarios can play out. If this stays on the eastern side of this track, it will be a stronger storm system and more impactful for us. Down the middle, a little bit less, and then, of course, the farther west, farther away from us, any storm tracks, the lesser the impacts would be for us. So a lot of different scenarios that can play out as we look out in time. Once again, this is going all the way out to the end of the week, so a lot will change with the storm, once again, that hasn't even developed yet. So until we have a start point, it's hard to pick out where exactly it will be 4 or 5 days from now. But here are the computer models. We'll take these out over the next 4 or 5 days, and what you can take away is that there's still a lot of spread in these models. They all have that general same idea that this comes up in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but you can see a pretty wide range of possible results with some of these computer models stretching all the way from Alabama over here into South Carolina as this comes northward. And then you can see a bit of a bend back to the west down the road as we go into Friday and Saturday, as it kind of gets absorbed by an upper level low that will be parked back to the west, which will help to steer it. It will also help to pull it northward very quickly rather than that slow moving motion that we had with Tropical Storm Debbie. Let's take a look at one of the computer models and see how it kind of plays out, the evolution of this storm as we go from today into tomorrow, and then Wednesday. There we have a developing storm in the Gulf of Mexico, and then all of a sudden we have an approaching perhaps Category 2, 3 hurricane. Some models even stronger than that, somewhere from the panhandle region of Florida down towards Tampa. We will be watching this closely. Remember, landfalling Gulf of Mexico storm, even though it's not making landfall here, can certainly be impactful for us. We saw that case in point back in Hurricane Irma back in 2017, which caused the third highest tide recorded in the Charleston Harbor, behind a no-name storm back in 1940 and Hurricane Hugo, obviously, in 1989. So not saying that's going to pan out with this, but just giving you the idea idea that we do have to watch these storms because they can be very impactful, even if they're making a landfall somewhere else and then we get the leftovers. But thankfully, as it moves inland, yes, it will be weakening. Now, we do expect our window right now, the best guess at timing for possible impacts will be from Thursday late in the afternoon through Thursday night and should be wrapped up very early Friday morning. So once again, this is a very quick moving storm system, but because of possible impacts, once again, we don't know yet as far as what exactly those impacts will be. But as far as the storm system coming up in our general direction, we just want to go ahead and issue first alert weather day. So this is going to be for Thursday and Friday, mainly Thursday late afternoon, Thursday night, and then very early Friday morning. Possible impacts, rain, yes, certainly. I think that would be the best bet at this point in time. Some wind, of course, the farther east this tracks, the gustier the winds will be. Coastal flooding, anytime you're on the eastern side of the storm, it brings in more of a trajectory off the ocean, and we can see some higher tides. And then, of course, there's always a tornado threat whenever you're talking about a landfalling tropical system, and you're especially on the eastern side of it. It won't be as prolonged of an event as far as the rain or the concern about tornadoes, like we saw back with Debbie. All this is going to be because of that forward momentum, the forward speed of this storm. Unlike Debbie, which was moving 2, 3, 4, 5 miles per hour, even stalled at times off of our coast, this will be coming through at a clip more like 15 miles per hour or so. So much quicker movement with this, which should help out quite a bit. So we do expect that there will be some impacts, certainly across the southeast, but definitely a possibility here across the Carolinas as we go from Thursday, once again, late afternoon into Thursday night and Friday. As that becomes a little bit clearer as far as the exact impacts we will feel here in the low country, of course, we'll give you the first alert on that. So once again, we have potential tropical cyclone number 9. Forecast, unfortunately, become a Hurricane Helene in the Gulf of Mexico, and then we'll watch for remnants after it makes landfall down into most likely Florida and then comes northward, and that will be later this week.